Many thanks for joining us today on the Marketplace. Now to our very first story. Embark on some expenditure cuts, revenue-enhancing measures, and diversify your economy. That's the advice coming from the IMF to Ghana to avoid any shocks on the economy over the expected pickup in crude prices. There are fears that price of crude oil could hit the roof soon as a result of threats by U.S. to hit North Korea over nuclear missile tests, as well as Syria over the use of chemical weapons on civilians. The price of the commodity is currently trading at around $52 a barrel. Answering a question posed by Joy Business at a briefing on the World Economic Outlook report by the IMF in Washington, D.C., Director of Economic Studies, Oya Selasun, says going this way can help minimize any negative impacts on the Ghanaian economy.
Where fiscal policy has to adjust to the new reality, in many cases by focusing more on domestic revenue mobilization, to some extent also rationalizing expenditures. Where feasible, where exchange rate regimes allow, the adjustment could also benefit very much from exchange rate flexibility, which helps to restore the value of revenues in domestic currency and thereby avoid deeper cuts in real spending. And also in many of these economies, there's a broader, longer-term need to diversify the economy away from commodity-based sources of growth into other activities. And the requirements in every country differs from one another, but it's a common need.
Mm-hmm. And a question from gentleman in the first row.
Now, will Ghana be able to implement the entire targets under the IMF program by 2018? That's a question the IMF will try to get some firm answers from the Ghana delegation as the annual IMF World Bank Spring Meetings opens in Washington, D.C. Now, George Rafe is there for Joy Business and has come through with this report.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, at a recent engagement with the press, indicated government's commitment to ending the program by April 2018 as scheduled. He, however, conceded this will not come easy because of some critical measures that need to be implemented. But sources close to the IMF says looking at some of the reforms and measures that needs to be implemented before government can indeed say it has completed the program, then the April 2018 deadline could be difficult. The fund has however maintained that the extension of the program should be at government's own request. Vice President Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia and Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, who are leading Ghana's delegation, together with the Bank of Ghana governor, should arrive from London today to join the advance team in Washington, D.C. for the various engagements at the annual IMF World Bank Spring Meetings. Some of the key engagement the Vice President together with the Finance Minister would have is the meeting with the IMF boss Christine Lagarde, which could put to rest the current debate about whether the program should be extended or not. The Ghana team would also firm up discussions on the fourth review so the IMF can go to its board by June for the release of some $115 million to Ghana.
You have sent that report from Washington, D.C., and very soon we shall be getting to him on phone for some updates at the meetings today, the itinerary for today, and of course what exactly is happening with the Ghanaian delegation right there at the spring meetings. But for now, financial consultant Charles Mensah has advised government to use the recent 15-year bond deal to target the international business community to draw investments into specific sectors of the economy. According to him, the Franklin Templeton Institution deal is one of the best that ever happened to Ghana for international investments. In an interview with Joy Business on reactions of the recent 15-year bond issue by government, Charles Mensah said this is an indication of high investment confidence in the country's economy.
Now that the fund managers are in the market, we probably have to now target the international business community, not international fund managers. Template is a fund manager. So the focus now is to, again, go for business men or women or business communities so that they come in to invest in specific industry, specific sectors. The templated deal is not investing in specific sector. He's playing in your monetary market. And the fund managers sometimes show the way because they are working with other people's money. They will not play game. They will do their due diligence and do the right thing. So when they come in, everybody knows that the confidence is there. And then the business community can then follow. So probably our target should, from now on, and I trust UFI to do that, it will go for investors, business investors, to go to specific sectors. Once you go to specific sectors, then we'll see a massive growth. And I hope and pray that it will come to pass.
Am I right? It's on the marketplace, and today is the last day of the 3-week ultimatum issued by the Lands and Natural Resources Minister for illegal miners across the country. The Galamsey operators therefore have up to the end of today to end their operations or face a government crackdown. The following feature explores more on the fight against the Galamsey.
Today, we explore the national debate on illegal mining, also known as Galamsey. So far, government has instituted measures to completely ban illegal mining across the country, except for those who engage in small-scale artisanal mining, only if they stick to the rules and regulations of the game. But in the midst of this ban, there has been concerns, as various key stakeholders do say that the various people or persons who are engaged in illegal mining could be kicked out of their jobs. Well, the Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission, Tony Orban, says there should be some sense of a cushioning up for such victims, especially when the situation of unemployment in Ghana is on the high side. Statistics indicate that about 200 operators have so far evacuated the mining site they have been illegally occupying. This includes both investors and workers on the sites. So what next after the ultimatum which expires today? The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewo, explains.
Multilateral mining integration project, which is going to follow after the, taking these guys out of their areas of operation. So that is a 5-year period that would integrate all those guys that still want to come back into the business, into the formal, well-regulated control manner. So that's going to be a 5-year project, which is the MMIP.
Okay. The Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission, Dr. Tony Orban, has been shedding more light on the 5-year program, admitting enforcement of the laws has been a major challenge over the years.
The situation requires comprehensive, integrated approach. That's why the minister announced the multilateral mining integrated project. This project is comprehensive. So one of it is the ban on licenses, a moratorium on licenses. The rest will be the enforcement.
Government has suspended issuing new licenses to small-scale miners until further notice to restructure the sector. This is expected to facilitate a plan to identify prospective areas for small-scale mining to maximize the benefits for licensed Ghanaian artisanal miners. A former chief executive of the Chamber of Mines, Joyce I, has lauded government's approach so far as crucial, averting the far-reaching consequences of illegal mining in the society.
Is not only the destruction of land and the destruction of water, serious though those may be, but there are also some very serious social problems. Because money comes into the hands of those who go into the pits and so on, and all those who are involved in it, there is a lot of prostitution.
The Chamber of Mines also says government's approach to establish the minerals composition on mining lands before offering them to licensed artisanal miners couldn't have come at a better time. Suleiman Ukoni is the chief executive.
there are various, ideas we have actually put together and even discussed with governments, not this, just this government, but even the previous government. We did a study a number of years ago, and it showed that, look, one of the key challenges we have in the small-scale mining segment has to do with the fact that the extent of mineralization of various parcels of land which are actually given out to them are unknown.
So as government's ultimatum to illegal miners expires at the end of the day, industry watchers will be waiting to see what happens next. Government has meanwhile vowed to make the culprits face the full rigors of the law as it takes a national campaign and fight against illegal mining in collaboration with the media and civil society a notch higher.
Let's now get back to Washington, D.C., specifically the spring meetings, the IMF World Bank spring meetings, where George Riafe will be joining us shortly to take a look at updates, currently updates there. And we're joined by George Riafe. George, good morning if you can hear me, because I know it's morning over there in the U.S.
Yes, of course, Yafi, I can hear you, and I'm live in the headquarters 2 building of the International Monetary Fund, where over the past few days, several governments have been meeting with the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank on several issues that matters on the economy, as well as issues that have to affect the individual and country.
George Riafe is reaching us live from the United States of America, Washington, D.C., specifically at the IMF meetings. George.
I can hear you, Riafe. You can go ahead with your questions.
What have you been getting for us by way of updates currently?
Well, earlier on, you heard the report about the global economic outlook, which actually spoke about the outlook for the global economy. But for Ghana specific, it talked about the 5.8% economic growth rate for Ghana and the fact that
Sincere apologies for these technical hitches there. We will definitely, get back to George Riafe for some more updates at the IMF World Bank meetings in Washington, D.C. You're still live on the marketplace, and the IMF has been cautioning Ghana against the future, expected future price shocks because of the threat posed by the U.S. to North Korea for hitting, for testing its missiles, and definitely its impact on the global oil industry will hit Ghana hard. So it's cautioning Ghana to adopt enhancing revenue measures to overcome these shocks. We'll be getting to George Riafe for some more details, and we'll get back to you shortly, but you're still on the marketplace. Now, moving on, 10 years ago, two friends decided to bring innovation in the professional cleaning industry here in Ghana. They set up Spark Clean Company Limited to offer professional cleaning services. It's safe to say they are setting the standard in an industry which is among the least regulated. What's so unique about what they do? The Joy Business Fund headed to Spintex here in Accra when the company operates from. Let's have excerpts.
You can find them anywhere: the financial services industry, major manufacturing firms, health and educational institutions offering professional services they believe they are best in. Spark Clean Company Limited was founded 10 years ago by two businessmen, William Okranche and Obed Owusukisi. They had two main objectives: to meet the need for professional cleaners, which was lacking at the time, and to create jobs.
Because personally I was running big businesses, multinationals, I thought a cleaning services company is going to be very simple. basic. You get a broom and a mop bucket, and that's it. Yeah, so I thought it was a very simple business, but as we began the operation, then I saw it's very complex.
Sparkling started off with 4 workers. The challenge at the beginning was getting professional cleaners. Co-founder Obedo Wusukisi and managing director Dino Wusukisi decided to put their corporate jobs on hold and take up a course in professional cleaning.
Live on the marketplace, and the launch of the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative is underway at Gov't in the Bonahafo region. The initiative is expected to cut down food imports and also create jobs for about 700,000 people. Let's go on the phone now and speak with our correspondent, Prince Apia, who is currently in Gov't to witness the ceremony. Prince, you can hear me. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Now, so what can you tell us about the launch currently?
Yeah, I must say that it is a colorful event with all the chiefs in the Bonahafo region gathered here at the Gov't Park to witness the launch of the Planting for Food and Jobs. I must say that the program just began some 20 minutes ago. The Gov't Mahine just finished speaking. He enumerated a number of challenges for him. This particular community has the potential of growing cocoa and plantain, and for them, it should be one of the main focus of this particular program. After him, the regional minister, Honorable Chairman, has also spoken and also went on the same tangent as the Omahine. We are all waiting for the President of the Republic of Ghana, Adedankwa Akufo-Addo, to give us the policy and how this particular program will be rolled out and to every sphere of the economy. So that is what we are waiting now. President has arrived. The Minister of Agriculture has arrived. The Employment Minister is also available. The Minister for Fisheries is also available. So all the ministers are here. Almost all the 10 regional ministers, with the exception of the Greater Accra regional minister, are here to witness this particular launch of the Planting for Food and Jobs.
Now, Prince, if you have been able to speak individually with any of these authorities, either the Minister of Agric or one of these stakeholders, what has he been telling you, or have they been telling you about the prospects, the effectiveness of this initiative when it's finally rolled out?
Yeah, I've been speaking to some of the leaders off record, and the information they tell me is that the reason why most of the ministers are here, it tells you that there is this coordination among the Aquaculture and Fisheries Minister, the Employment Minister, the Agriculture Minister, and all the regional ministers to be able to roll out this particular program effectively. For them, agriculture for years has been relegated to the background, even though it has been described as the fulcrum of every economy, especially the economy of Ghana. So for them, it is a very important program that they are going to roll out. There are issues of seedling delays and delays in the early part of this particular program being rolled out. But for them, they are going to coordinate effectively to ensure that every farmer under this program gets what is due them, and for this program will be successful.
For that update, we'll certainly get back to you when we require some more business details on that story. That was Prince Apia reporting from Gov't in the Bonahafo region, where currently the launch of the Planting for Food and Jobs is underway in the region. Let's now get back to George Wiafe in Washington, D.C. to complete his briefing on the updates of the IMF World Bank meetings. George, if you can hear me now, can you go ahead with the briefing? Yeah, sure.
So I told you about the World Economic Outlook report that was launched yesterday, and basically they projected a 5.8% without oil that was far, far higher than that, and it looks like the IMF itself is quite optimistic about things for Ghana in terms of economic growth. Well, today we are expecting the chairman of the economic management team, the vice president Mohamed Bamia, to join us in here from London, as well as the finance minister, for the meetings to actually go on. Now, the bilateral meetings, vice president is expected to meet Christine Lagarde, who is the MD of the IMF, and also the World Bank president. Now, just a while ago, the Financial Stability Report was launched. That is, the Global Financial Stability Report was launched. And the warning was that still we are not out of the woods in terms of the problems that we are facing as a global economy. But very soon, the Fiscal Stability Report, the FA, will be launched. And many will be looking forward to it, because what is that report going to say about a rising public debt, and whether government is doing enough to try and address the rising public debt, which last year has hit about 122 billion Ghana cedis. Is it going to go down? Is it going to go high? What is the IMF going to say about our debt management strategy as government? And everybody's waiting for that one and see what the International Monetary Fund, the FA, is going to say about that one.
Before you finally go, can you tell us anything about Ghana's engagement with the fund on its continuity for the program?
Well, that would be one of the interesting discussions that is going to happen here, because the problem, when I engage some officials at the fund here, their argument is that there are certain critical targets, programs that Ghana is supposed to implement before the program ends in April 2018. Concern is, looks like Ghana might have some challenges in implementing all these targets before April 2018. And therefore, it might be right to extend the program to December 2018. So that is the concern here. So when the vice president, who chairs the economic management team, arrives here and also engage the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, the question is, can you meet all these targets before the program ends in that is April 2018? That is going to be the big question to the Ghana team. Whether they can do it, well, the argument is that if they go ahead and do it, we might be having a very crash program. So we are all looking forward to see whether indeed Ghana can indeed implement the program, all the targets, all the measures by April 2018, or they might request for an extension come December 2018. I think that's what all of us are looking forward to see what will be the final verdict on the IMF program for Ghana.
Many thanks for your time, George Wiafe, joining us live from Washington, D.C., where the annual IMF World Bank meetings are currently underway in that city, in that state. And certainly we will bring you some more updates on that meeting when we get some more details in the subsequent bulletins. But for now, it will be a wrap for Marketplace. Join me again on Business Live tonight at 5 p.m. My name is Emmanuel Apwachi.